Okay, so here we are, the first conscious creation talk today with me, Pascal. And I really look forward to share this conversation with you. And yeah, if I look into my personal life experience, but also the news, it's really easy to get sucked into the negativity that is all around and that is so present right now. And at the same time, I see so many good things happening, especially with the clients that I work with in my coaching practice. I see a lot of people really growing and waking up and really building beautiful things and creating a life that is really abundant and rich in so many ways. And so my intention was to really give these people a platform and to share with all the other people around that many beautiful things are happening, and to share the inspiration, the knowledge, and the ways that people are really building a more positive and a really beautiful future, and to see everything that is happening at the moment as a great opportunity to step into our own creatorship and also to reflect on how we want to live our lives. So there is a deeper underlying question in this world right now that is really, how do we want to create our future? And it feels to me like there are no more excuses not to do it ourselves. We cannot really rely on authorities or other institutions to create this future for us, but it's really on us to reflect on how we want to live our lives. And so yeah, this is really a platform for inspiration, and I'm going to invite more and more people to share how they take responsibility for their lives and really build the future that they want in their surroundings. So today, yeah, as I said, I have Pascal de Lacaze with me, and I have known Pascal for about a year now, I think. And yeah, first of all, welcome, Pascal. Thank you for your willingness to share your experience and your thoughts with us today. Well, welcome to you.
Hi, and thanks for having me, Jonathan.
Beautiful. So maybe you can start with sharing a little bit about your path and where you come from. And I'd be especially curious to hear how you, maybe there have always been aspects of yourself where you didn't really fit into the culture or into the conditioning that surrounded you. So I'd be curious to hear how it became that really you took responsibility for your life in a way that you created something that is really your own and not so much dependent on what others think or how others walk their path or the pre-trodden path that so many others rather choose.
Yeah, where to start? I mean, first of all, I could say I don't come from like a conventional German household. My mother is from the Caribbean, and my father was kind of a free spirit from the late 60s. So I was influenced by laissez-faire and anti-authoritarian pedagogy. I was raised in a way very free, and this sort of gave me the possibility to also look for things that excite me and pursue them. And my parents supported me with that, and I'm really grateful for that. Nonetheless, I also faced challenges with limiting beliefs, what is in store for me in life, what I could do, and what definitely I won't be able to achieve. And at some point I decided I want to follow music because that excited me. And at some point, not so long ago, maybe like that was in 2010, end of 2010, I realized I'm not going to be a rock star, or not as I thought. Whatever, I had a band, I had several bands, I was trying to make it, and we had a booking agency and a little record company and playing all over. And I thought, pretty soon there will be a major label, and I will I can live off that. Turns out it was not that, and that was a blessing, because I realized in retrospect that was not really what I wanted.
Mm.
It wasn't really what I was identified with, being on stage and being this artist persona, this front man of this band. I sure learned a lot, and this was really great. I don't want to miss anything of that. So I let go. I let go of being an artist or of being a musician. And I remember my quote from back then, what I told a lot of my friends, that I identify with being a human being first and not with being a musician persona. So identifying with being a human being first is something that I resonate strongly with. So how I feel in my body, what I want to do, what is with friends, and what really comes from the heart. And I said, of course, I like music. I will keep on playing music and do the things I like, but I will not put pressure on these things to feed me necessarily. That was a phase that lasted for a few years, and that was also the phase where I started to venture more into yoga and acro yoga and body work and these type of conscious body work practices.
Mm.
So at some point I realized, and also with your help, that it's a lot the beliefs that limit us. And I allowed myself to dream big and to really nail the pedal with intuition, with excitement, and follow that and not feel bad about it. Not like, okay, if I follow my excitement, what does this mean? Will it feed me, or these anxieties, or is, like I said in the beginning, is this actually in store for me in life to be successful, to live a dream career, and to do the things I really want to do, and to go the places I really want to go, and all of these things. Is that possible? And I decided to try it, and to say, like, why not? I'm just going to try. And it turns out that things are falling into place slowly, and that there is a way for me to be truly myself and fully myself.
Beautiful. So where did that lead you today? What is it that you spend your time with today, and how's that filling your life?
Yeah, so as you know, ecstatic dance, a form of conscious dance, is very important for me. I'm the main organizer of Ecstatic Dance Berlin, sort of a community leader also. We're doing this for 6 years now with a beautiful team and a large community. And ecstatic dance is also sort of a global movement all around the world. There are ecstatic dances sprouting like mushrooms all over. And more and more people digging this kind of practice. I heard people say it's the new yoga. So this is important for me. I play there as a musician and DJ, and I'm sort of pursuing a career as a DJ. If you look at it from the outside, this is something that brings me places and opens opportunities for me. Because of this global network also, I regularly go to Amsterdam and Barcelona, and I'm playing on a lot of festivals. I have been playing in the past 2 years on quite some festivals, and will in the future. I already have some exciting bookings for 2017. And I just looked at a bigger location today for Ecstatic Dance Berlin, and it's growing, and I'm growing, and like I said, things fall into place. And right now, being a DJ, an event organizer, are pretty much my main occupations. I did have a day job for the past 2 years. I worked 50% for the last 6 months. And I'm going to leave this job by the end of 2016. So actually in a few weeks. And then I will be full-time, what I said before. And so I'm
exciting.
Making the Hanuman's leap into this, being full-time artist and event organizer.
The Hanuman's leap, what is that exactly? I haven't heard that term before.
This monkey god, the great friend of Sita and Rama. It's from the Indian mythology. And once I'm not so, you got me there, I'm not so 100% firm with my Indian mythology. But he did make a great leap to rescue Sita, as I remember.
Okay.
And it was a big jump, and he didn't know that he was able to do it.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful term, because I come across this phenomenon quite often, that people are in front of a challenge, that they really have to take this jump into the unknown and trust that it will turn out well. Yeah,
exactly. And someone reminded Hanuman that he has the capability, that he's actually able to do this big jump from, it was a very long distance.
Right.
And he did it, and everything turned out well. So, and what you're saying is, it reminds me of something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I wiped out with a skateboard because I wanted to go down a half pipe.
Oh.
And and I did some other things on the skate park. There were no skate parks when I was young, but I was skateboarding a little as a teenager. And every time I stand on a skateboard these days, I do it every couple of months. I feel it's still in my body. I still can do it. I wasn't doing any weird tricks or so. And then a couple of weeks ago, I went to the skate park, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try a few things I never tried before. And there was this feeling of, there is this fear, just like if you would jump from somewhere high into the water and you're so afraid. Everyone else does it, and it looks like a lot of fun, and no one really gets hurt, and it seems to be possible, but there's just this fear. And I realized it's not about driving down this half pipe. It's actually about coping with the fear and dealing with it, and feeling it in my body, and the whole process of, I'm going to do it, and then going there, and then like, oh no, I'm so afraid. And I was standing there, and then the other young skaters came, hey, this is how you do it. You put the skateboard like that, you lean to the front. And eventually I did it, and I wiped out, and I hurt myself a little bit. And then everyone was like, yes, that's it, exactly. Everyone gets hurt the first time. Like, this is perfect. And it was, it felt like a big accomplishment. It was like, okay, I allowed myself to quote unquote fail. But I did it, and it's all healed now. It's no big deal, and I feel good about it. Just doing it, pushing myself a little bit to the limit. And now I know when I'm afraid, and it feels like something I really want to do, it's worth it's worth going for it.
Right. Which brings me to the question: what is it that are your resources? What is it that really helps you to move beyond your fear and to to find the energy in challenging times?
I feel more and more it is my frame of beliefs, the framework of my beliefs. So I put my energy there where I feel good, things I like to believe. Other people could say like, yeah, that's maybe blending out reality or being a dreamer. But I feel it really serves me if I surround myself by people who inspire me and who I can inspire, and who show me it is possible to do the things that are exciting. And so what really fuels me is I would say positivity. That this is a core value for me. Feeling good about myself and feeling good about the things I do is something I like, and I go for. And sharing this with people, I'm also a lot into mutual support. So when I like people and I see they have talents and they would like to go for something, I would ask them, what's your ideal scenario or so? And then just to share the excitement with them of what they want to do. Like, oh, and then maybe I have an idea, and then I maybe would say like, oh, you should call this person, or check out that website, or actually, why don't you present this at the next Ecstatic Dance, or things like that. So I share excitement. I bring this in the world, and this is a motor for me, like to believe it. It is a good thing that we feel good about ourselves, and that we can share this, and that we can support each other to grow into our full potential, basically.
Right. Yeah, and it's beautiful because what you're describing is it's not something that comes by itself, that you just think positive and everything will fall into place. But no, you're actually doing things to create this upward spiral, that you surround yourself with people that support you in your belief, but that also you give a lot back to, and you give opportunities and a platform for them to really grow into their power, and in that way you really create positivity in your
Yeah.
surrounding.
Yeah, I believe for me, I sometimes say it's like leaning in, coming to a situation with, and I think also you said it once, the assumption of friendship. That's something I like. What I say is, coming with something, with a sense of contribution. Like I come, I want to share something. I don't think so much of what I can get. I think of what can I share? What can I bring? How can I enrich the world? And how can I support people to grow, and how, ideally, how can the world support me to grow? Because when I grow, I will share this again. And in my belief, this is something where, the vibration will spiral up. It's a high vibrational frequency.
Right. And I know from what you're doing with Ecstatic Dance that it's so much more than just a party that has a bit of a taste of consciousness, but it's really more and more becoming a movement. And I'd be curious to hear about your vision, what that could also grow into, or what it is already. Maybe
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
tell a little bit to the people who haven't been to Ecstatic Dance before what it is.
Yeah, it's not so easy, I guess, because I feel probably everyone who goes to ecstatic dance has a different view, and also there's so many ecstatic dances around the world, and it's not like a trademark name or something. So ecstatic dance can be many things, but as you said, it is a conscious dance form where open-minded and somewhat people open to spirituality gather, but that's not necessarily like something you don't need to be like a quote unquote spiritual person or anything. It's I would say a modern dance ritual that is low threshold. Everyone who wants to be in a positive, supportive atmosphere where it is safe to let go, to really go deep into dance, shake it off, jump around. Some window just opened. Let me just click it away here. Okay. Where you can just basically be yourself, where it's safe to be yourself and find your authentic expression in movement through dance. It's a healthy atmosphere. We dance on bare feet and no alcohol is served. It's a smoke-free environment. And this is basically what ecstatic dance is. And it has a beginning. We start together and we end together. It's not like a club night where people come and go. It's in that respect, it's a closed container, you could say. And and it's also a community. People gather after the dance. We hang out, and there's networking going on, people meeting each other in a scenario that is not like kind of an everyday scenario on the street or in the metro or at work or something like that. So yeah, people can experience themselves. It's more like a somatic experience, feeling the body, dropping more from the intellect into the body, and feeling and expressing movement, basically. And for me, movement is also a key word because it expresses bodily movements like dance, but it also expresses what you say, a movement in terms of people venturing into something new, like a new era, a new way of living together. That includes all the things I said, like it is okay if we live ourselves, if we come as we are, if we do the things that we love, and that this is not only highly appropriate, that this is that we wish this, that this is a value. We want to thrive. We want to live our full potential. And I feel ecstatic dance is a very good atmosphere, a very good hub for this. And So in that respect, I would say it's a movement, and this happens globally. For some people, it's just something where they go and they just can sweat off their week and come out of their head a little bit. And for others, they really find their community and and feel support that what they do is has a meaning and excites not only themselves but also other people. And I would say ecstatic dance is part of a larger movement that we see on the planet. And there's a lot of practices and other movements connected to this, and ecstatic dance is just part of that.
Mm-hmm. So before we come to this, I'm curious to hear. Sorry, I have some feedback right now. Okay, let's try again. So before we come to the larger vision of society and how the world could develop, I'd be curious to hear your personal vision for ecstatic dance and the work that you're doing. Where do you see that going in the next few years?
Yeah, there's
if you really dream big and allow yourself to dare.
Yeah, so there's at least two levels. So one level is sort of my own career, and then the next level is how I integrate that into the bigger picture. So I see myself playing at beautiful events that somehow are ecstatic dance related on festivals, so the things I'm already doing, and I imagine I will do this more. And then I will organize events in Berlin and potentially other cities, what I'm also already starting to do. And I imagine that it is not so far in the future that it is possible to gather a lot of people together to dance like this, 200, 300, maybe more, 500. I would be really curious how this feels with that amount of people in a room or outside. Going into dance with an intention, or dancing in this form, as I said, using dance as a ritual. And I'm really curious how this feels. So I can see that. And this also means for me that I have a bigger platform to express as an artist. I will produce more music. I will actually next week, I'm going into the studio with a friend. We're going to record drums. Drums are my main instrument, and this sort of goes very well together with dance. So I see a path there to evolve more as a drummer and as a producer, and to have a really nice and a grateful platform with ecstatic dance, and an outlet where I can present this and make other people happy with that. And then also the global networking will become stronger, I feel, like it has in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, I didn't know basically anyone from other ecstatic dances in other cities, and now I know a lot of people, and we invite each other, and this is also growing. And I see a lot of collaborations there, also communities growing together. People from Berlin visiting Amsterdam, vice versa, Barcelona, all this is happening. I had many people come to me after the dance and saying, I danced in Bali, in Ubud, or I'm from the Oakland ecstatic dance community, and I was excited to find out there's also ecstatic dance in Berlin. So ecstatic dancers from around the world are dancing ecstatically around the world. This is happening also in Berlin. And I see myself as a central figure in Berlin, at least, in this movement. Yeah.
There's this beautiful quote: "If you can do it by yourself, you're not dreaming big enough." And I've heard from you that you are also sort of creating a biotope for people to bring in their creativity and to use what is already there with ecstatic dance to also contribute to it, and also to expand, to go beyond just the evenings that you share together dancing, but really to build a community and a hub for creative people to also explore new ways of doing business together. Can you share a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I in the beginning, ecstatic dance sort of started with, I wanted to find a way to express as an artist that was different from what I did before. Like in the beginning, I shared I had this band. It was sort of more pop, rock, reggae, rap oriented stage scenario with a frontman, and then we played in clubs or at festivals. And that's fun, and that was fun. At the same time, I started to do yoga and went more into this world. And then I went at some point in, I don't know, maybe 2007 or 8 or something. I went to a barefoot dance in Berlin. And I was like, oh, I would like to do something as a drummer for this kind of scene, dancing barefoot in a healthy atmosphere. How can I bring my talents to that? How can I make a connection there? And it turns out that in my head, this was already like somehow very related to what I'm doing now, but it took a couple of years until this all unfolded. And then the first years of ecstatic dance, I was also mainly focusing more on my DJ skills and the music and the drumming and all of that. And I had other people in the team dealing more with the helpers team and creating flyers and these kinds of things. And then since 1.5 years, I'm the head organizer and I work with the team of helpers. So now that other people left the team and I'm sort of quote unquote alone, I'm saying quote unquote a lot. Why am I doing that? Seems to be my shtick. Anyway, so yeah, I had to deal with some things that I actually in the first I didn't like more the organizational stuff. Who's gonna cook tea? Who will clean up after the dance and stuff like that? Where I was more like, all right, give me a drum. I want to make people dance. Let me spin some tunes. Let's get the party going. Let's dance together. But no, for a great dance, to create a safe container, we need someone who sits at the door, who deals with the money. We need someone who cooks tea. We need someone to clean. And in the end, I was responsible for all of that. So I had to talk more to the people who were doing this work. And plus the things I was already doing, like doing the bookings and also all the communication via social media, and that I have a background as a social media editor and copywriter and all of these things. I'm also a communication specialist, you could say. So I was doing that, but then really structuring a team, structuring a running dance, how does that work? So I learned a lot of things in the last 1.5 years about team building, and then realizing, oh, okay. And then some people ask me, oh, can I sell some cacao at your event or so? I was like, sure. I realized I can share with people and enrich the experience of everyone, of the community, that they can have a nice cacao drink, for example. Others they were offering a pollen drink or smoothies or some raw food. We were experimenting with all these things. So this is now the catering aspect, but just a tiny aspect of where I could share this platform with other people, that they could, have some form of income. And so in the end, everyone's happy. I'm happy that the dance I'm organizing has more color and variety. The people coming can enjoy and appreciate offerings, and the people who offer that can make some pocket money. That's one example. The other example is, as I said, booking other artists. Like this also functions as a platform, not only for myself to grow as an artist, but I'm sharing this with artists from all over the world who pass through Berlin, and especially if they have a background in conscious dance and ecstatic dance, then I'm like, really, oh, okay, wow, these people fit very well. So I open this for them, so they can use this as something where they have an outlet for their art, and other musicians who play for the chill out, and they can put their name out there through ecstatic dance. And so there's a lot of ways where people can can also grow into their art, into their business, into their potential. And I'm happy to share that. And it seems, that this can be somehow a way of finding a new spiritual, communal economy or something. That this can be, it's sort of the blueprints now, but I see this can grow and can be something where we find out new ways of doing a business, new ways of being the boss, so to say, or sharing responsibility, sharing the money, and seeing how this can work, inventing economy new in a way.
Right. And I think it was Thomas Hübel who said the future is the past healed. And I think it's really beautiful in the way they do connect with people. You try also to embody this quality of consciousness and to reflect on patterns where you might be not living the future, where you might not be living in the present moment, but where you are reenacting old pains, old conditionings. And I'd be curious to hear from you, what are your experiences? How is what you create in the world, what you manifest, connected with your own personal development, with your spiritual development, and how can you support each other in that process?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I found out for myself that it helps a lot to sit with feelings, with emotions, with raw emotions. There is a tendency, I saw this in myself, and for example, my relationships with people on all different levels, sometimes we get triggered by our parents or by our lover or our partner or someone, the people we work with, something comes up and there's a strong emotion in our chest. It's like, oh, and then the usual reaction is we sort of go into this escalation of fighting, drama, or these kinds of things can easily happen. Sometimes nonviolent communication helps, but sometimes not. Like the feeling is still there. So what I learned is that it is very effective to find ways how to deal with raw emotions that don't really feel so good in your body. I mean, joy and ecstasy and all of that. Bliss is like, oh wow, I'm feeling good. This feels good in my body. Like the body chemistry is really sort of doing us a favor in that moment. When we feel more contracted and angry and like, oh, something pisses us off, then the body chemistry is sort of more like sour or a little bit, it feels like, oh my God, what is this? And to feel this. So simple things. I learned to slow down, to like really, oh, how does this feel? And to really just process emotion, and not going to go too deeply into it, but it's basically finding ways not to be triggered in a way that we react automatically. It is actually finding ways, and there's a lot of techniques to sort of create a little layer between the raw emotion and the reaction, what we do with it. For example, accusing or reacting in a way where we don't serve ourselves and everyone around us. Like just finding this layer of where we feel like, oh, wait a minute, this is how it feels. Let me feel how it feels. And then there is a possibility where I can decide. There is some space where I can make a conscious decision, where I can become aware of my responsibility in the whole thing, where I'm creating what I experience. And this somehow for me went together with feeling emotions, and these days I'm more able to slow down and be like, really, oh, I feel this somehow. Something comes up, and then either I can share it with a person if it's appropriate, or I just feel it, and then I realize I can decide differently than I would have decided a couple of years ago. I can be a little bit more understanding, a little bit more loving, and and this is also what I give. Like I talked about the sense of contribution. This is also a contribution that I make, that I say, like, in a way, I I want to feel my stuff. Like, this is what I will do. Like, if I deal with the world, I will take responsibility for my emotions and my feelings without reacting and being a little bit like a, you know, immature child who says like, this is how I want, but you, and why? and this is sort of what humanity still does on a large scale if we look around. And it somehow feels that I'm jumping a little bit, but it's for me all connected. What humanity is doing, it's growing up. We're all growing up. We're yeah, if you will, entering puberty or maybe even adolescence. And I feel yeah, being more responsible about how we deal with things, and how we feel about things, and how we react out of that, really can make a big difference. It can mean like, fuck you, I will never talk with you again. Maybe that's actually sometimes a good thing. But it means, okay, I'm feeling this and I hear you, and sometimes taking space and then breathing a little bit, and then making a decision, and then maybe seeing like, actually, wow, this is a blessing. I can see things differently now, and I can grow from that. And I see if I push myself a little bit what we had before. Like, sometimes we're afraid to see things differently. It's a little bit also the sometimes we talk about in the conscious community about mindset of abundance and mindset, scarcity mindset. So I would say the old story, the old narrative is the scarcity mindset. And it takes a lot of guts to open up and to say like, hey, other people are not always my competitors or want something from me, or I have to, you know, use my elbows to stand in the world and to do my thing. Like, no, if I open myself up and say like, if other people thrive, this will also be good for me. So this is the mindset of abundance, of saying like, hey, how can I help you to be great? How can you help me to be great? How can we help each other? This sometimes takes a lot of guts, because the default reactions can sometimes be like, no, I don't know, I'd rather do my own thing, or I'm, you know, being contracted and more close-minded about these things. And,
so what you're basically describing, if I can interrupt briefly, is that sure. If you really build that capacity within you to not be controlled by your emotions so much, but really to take responsibility for your emotions and build in that pause between your emotion and your reaction, it actually gives you a lot more freedom of choice. You can choose more consciously what you want to do with that situation. And in that way, I assume, or if I look at how your life has unfolded, it makes you more successful in creating the things that you actually want, because you don't react to the things that you don't want.
Yes, exactly. It's focus, pretty much focusing on what I want, rather than giving too much focus on what I do not want. And it's, I also describe it a little bit like not buying into the war frequency, or the frequency of against something. Or, I mean, if you look on social media, also now the election in the US, there's a lot of like, oh my God, and being against and wanting to fight what is. And of course we can we have a responsibility in creating the world we want. And this is exactly also where sort of it can be a vicious cycle where we just fight, we bang our head against the wall because we don't want something, and all that happens, or what will happen is we will have a bruised head. Or if we bang our head against someone else, then two people will just, you know, be in pain. Or we can say like, what do we want? Like, don't we want to have a good life together as humans on this earth? Yes, right? So more looking at things that we actually do want to have, carving out core values that make sense to us, that feel good. in our body, when we feel like, yeah, like we all want to be fed, we all want to tap in our full potential. I don't only want this for myself, I want this for everyone. And I'm sure a lot of people agree. And so I see also the work that I'm doing integrated in this field where people realize this is what they want. They want the good for everyone.
Beautiful. And in saying that, you also touched on the greater vision for our world. So we've talked about your personal vision and how things are unfolding in your life. Then there is the community aspect with your direct community and friends that you have surrounding you and the organizations. But then there's also a larger movement happening in society of people growing up and waking up. And what would you say? What is really happening beneath the surface of social media, news, and fear and things that are really going on there? Do you have a perspective on this? What is really happening in the world right now?
Wow. I mean, I have a very limited perspective, of course, of things that are going on. From my perspective, I see also there's potential for collective waking up. Just as when you go into the supermarket and you see next to the conventional food, there's these organic brands, supermarket brands. And it's just a little symbol for me that sort of conscious lifestyle, is affecting the mainstream culture. Yoga is big, and for some it's just, physical movement on a mat in a fitness studio. But some people might be interested in the mantra or in the philosophy and realize like, oh wow, there's Advaita Vedanta and things like that, and these ideas are somehow very big, interesting, and this can help me in my life and can make a difference if I let this into my life. So there's a lot of I would say openness from mainstream cultures and high cultures to let influences from all sorts of alternative ways of thinking and living in. So and maybe it's a reaction of the earth thinking like, I'm gonna die if this continues. So here is the spirit, here is the light, and that somehow just comes through us. And I feel a lot of people feel it and want this. I think more and more people allow themselves to open their heart. More and more people allow themselves to do unconventional things. All the values from yesterday, church, society, schools, universities, ways of thinking, science, in all these fields, there's people who say like, wait a minute, why do we have to do it like we always did it? We can do it differently. Like, I can actually, wow, someone told me it's a good thing to breathe consciously. It's a good thing to work on my posture. If I'm sitting like this on my computer all day, it's not going to be good for my body. I mean, it's some things are more philosophical and more sort of in a way conscious or spiritual, like we use these terms a lot, and some things are closer to the common sense of a mainstream culture. But the openness to see things differently, to take a different perspective and maybe unpopular stance is spreading. I see and feel that this is happening more and more. I'm meeting more and more people. This is what I read. This is what I experience. And of course, I'm filtering also through the lens that I have and the focus what I have. But I feel that's also the beauty. Like we can create the world by consciously setting these filters and lenses and ways of thinking and say like, hey, if my beliefs create the world I live in, okay, then I go into my beliefs and then I see those things more, and then it's actually happening more. It's like a little bit, it feels like venturing into the new magic age in a way.
Yeah, and you actively choose your beliefs. You reflect on them, and then you choose which ones do you want to really believe in, which ones are limiting you, and which ones are really empowering you. And I think you did that beautifully, and it shows me that also the way you bring your passion into the world, this is something that really pushes you to your edge all the time, to really explore your beliefs, also to strengthen your positive beliefs, and in a way to push you beyond your comfort zone, so that your work is not only contributing to others, but also supporting you in your personal growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm.
So I know that there are a lot of people going through really challenging times right now, and really being affected by the frictions of the transformation process that is happening all around us. Is there anything that you would like to share with these people? Anything that helped you going through tough times?
Wow, yeah, this is a hard question, because I know that we also live in a part of the world and in a society that is liberal, and we, in a way, we have a lot of privileges here in this part of the world, and I feel it's not so easy to say something to people who maybe are in have a completely different life experience, and would say like, hey, what do you know about life? What do I know? I only can speak for myself, but what I could advise to everyone is that, find people that support you, find people that listen to you, that you can share your hopes, wishes, fears, and sorrows with, and people that you actually also want to know about, that you are interested in. And this creates a bond and is the blueprint for a society where sharing and mutual support is alive. Like, this happens. We embody this. I mean, we are the humans. Like, the life we want, if we want to be in a society, this is created by several people, 1, 2, 3, 4, and more. And if someone is there alone, find someone who can support you, and who you would also like to support. And it's not always, sometimes some people need more support in one moment, and they can't really give so much other than the opportunity for others to give their support, what also can be a gift. And sometimes what we actually receive, we can give it to someone else, or what we give to somewhere or to someone will come from somewhere else. So it's not always one-to-one what we give and receive. And yeah, my advice would be like, find people who share a similar frequency.
And you could potentially find them at your next Ecstatic Dance. There's
Yes.
lots of people who are inspiring and open to support each other. So when will your next Ecstatic Dance be, and how can people find out more about your work and Ecstatic Dance?
Yeah, so you can go to the website ecstaticdance.berlin. Ecstatic Dance Berlin is also on Facebook. And next time we dance is November 24th. That's actually in 7 days from now. I don't know when this will be shared, but yeah, November 24th, 2016. And then December 15th, the last dance of this year, 2016. And it's all on the pages I just mentioned, ecstaticdance.berlin. You will find all the details. And apart from Ecstatic Dance Berlin, just to mention that and to support my colleagues, there's a lot of possibilities in Berlin for conscious dance and conscious community. I feel it's a bubbling community, and it's really worth checking it out. And you will find it on Facebook and groups like Conscious Dance Berlin, or Joyful Events, or whatever. Find something positive to do in Berlin. There's so many groups who also are a platform for all these beautiful events and workshops, and it's a growing community.
Beautiful. Yeah, so it's really an opportunity to tap into that field. And if you feel like your energy is not at the highest right now, then that is probably a place that you can use as a resource to charge yourself up, to really come into your body and to really get an experience of immediately being alive. And if you're already charged up, then you can meet amazing people there to co-create the future with together. So yeah, great that you're providing this platform. Thank you for your work.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being available for this interview, sharing your knowledge, your experience, and being an inspiration to other people. So yeah, I'm really glad that you took the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Jonathan, for having me.
Wonderful. So have a great evening and talk to you soon, Pascal.
Yes.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.